ICENET. Dynasties live here.
CBC Hockey Night. This is the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. Game number 2, opening playoff round, Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Islanders. The Islanders winners last night by a score of 9-2. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Hodge with Bill Hewitt, Chico Resch, and Gary Dornhofer. We apologize for transmission difficulties beyond our control. The game has not started and will soon be underway. And to set the scene with some pregame talk, let us go to the booth where Bill Hewitt is standing by with Chico Resch and Gary Dornhofer. And Gary and Chico, I think we should talk about 3 Islanders who didn't score a point last night, but who were very instrumental in beating the Leafs so handily. Merrick, Howitt, and Nystrom.
Well, we will certainly talk about that, Dave, right after the playing of the national anthem.
Now we'll have a look at the officials for tonight's game. Referee is Dave Newell, and the linesmen are Ron Asseltine and Ron Finn. In the nets, Bunny the Rock. And the Islanders have Billy Smith right back in there.
Chico, I think it's very important last night, the domination of Merrick, Nystrom, and Howitt against Sittler's line. Could this be a factor again tonight?
Well, it could, and I think Nikolak is going to go with, I would think he's going to go with the same setup as he had last night, and if things don't go well, you'll probably see him switch that line around a little bit.
And play is underway in this second game. 3 out of 5. Pass in front of the Leaf net. Turnbull shot it off the boards. It bounces all the way back to Langevin. Then Pearson to the Leaf blue line, gets it handed right back, goes to Langevin, intercepted by Melrose, and then he was checked. Butch Goring is up there. Turnbull shot it around on the boards, and there's going to be a penalty here. From the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, this is Stanley Cup 81.
Barry Melrose for cross-checking, sitting in the penalty box, and that spells trouble for the Islanders, or for the Leafs rather. The Islanders last night, 3 power play goals.
And we're all set for the face-off. It's Trottier out there with Bossy and Bourne. Then it's Potvin and Stephen Pearson. The Islanders trying to strike quickly. A pass is knocked off to the boards. Dennis Potvin shot it back of the net. Bourne had to come out in front. Gets it again. Islanders with the man advantage. Potvin goes to Pearson. Pearson shoots. Oh, that's just wide. Cleared around on the boards by Salming, and it goes down the ice. Pearson goes back for it. He's back to the net. Islanders with a pass to Dennis Potvin. Potvin going down to center. Crosses the line, then had to go back again. Teammates were too far ahead of him. Now they try it again. Bourne shooting it in. Into the corner. Bossy went after it. Bossy comes up with a puck. Bossy gets it over to Pearson. Pearson for Trottier. Then to Dennis Potvin. Over to Dennis Potvin again. There's the shot. It's right in front as Boschman has lost his stick. Now it's Trottier. Over it goes. Pearson a shot, and it's gloved and held onto by Bunny Larocque.
Well, Chico, you played for this club for 7 years. The power play by the Islanders has been devastating.
Well, it has. Everyone's got their own opinion on how to stop a good power play, and I think you just have to force it a little bit. And the Leafs are still pulling their men back in. They're playing the top of the circle, and it could work, but as even it's shown already, the Islanders are going to get a lot of good chances playing that way.
Well, that's what Mike Nicolak had said, too. He said, we have to force, not let them set up for their power play. Get on them, and perhaps that'll result in a stray pass, or we able to gain control.
Puck was shot into the crowd. Faceoff will be back in the Leaf zone.
There's Mike Nicolak. One thing he said, we have to bring up our level of play. Whether that's possible against the Islanders, I don't know. But if we want it bad enough, we will come up with that effort tonight.
Comes back to the blue line. Kewen giving it to Marini. Into the corner. That's Butch Goring back of the net. Left it for Marini. Marini trying to center it. Gillies is out in front of the net. There it is for Gillies, and it's shot to the blue line, but not out. Dennis Potvin keeps it in. Gillies has it. Gillies trying to come out in front of the net. The puck is loose. It's shot to the blue line and out. McEwen to Potvin. Potvin over here to Gillies. It's offside.
How much time would Al Arbour spend in this power play in a practice, Chico?
Not all that much during regular practice. When he spends a lot of time is the morning of a game. Like this morning, I'm sure he worked at least each line 5 minutes working the puck around on a power play. And you can't get much out of Al. I asked him, if he was worried about the guys being let down, and he didn't know. And his famous saying is, play it by ear. There we've got a score up there, Gary.
Isn't that something for a Minnesota North Star? As soon as they got that first one under their belt, watch out. Bobby Smith, Payne, and McAdam for Minnesota. Brad Park for the Bruins.
The Leafs clear the puck out and down the ice. That's going to be icing as Melrose just returned. Lorimer touching it, and it'll be brought all the way back.
Defensemen play such an important part as we look at Al Arbour, who was a defenseman in his heyday. But, there's more to just taking the man out and defending in your zone. But I think they play a very important part offensively. Make the plays and the shots on net, especially keeping them low.
Well, right, and they've got a perfect blend of defensemen. They've got 3 real mobile offensive defensemen, 3 defensive defensemen. They got a perfect blend, and on the power play, they'll use 3 guys on the point. Most teams will be happy to have 2 good guys on the point.
The perfect situation. 1 defensive defenseman, 1 offense, playing as a unit.
Exactly.
Merrick, number 11. Nystrom, 23. Gary Howard, number 8. Puck comes back to the blue line and out to center ice. Rennie Robert out there with Saddlebauer and Bruce Boudreau. Now the Islanders. A pass. Longerton gets it up to Nystrom. Nystrom, a pass over the line. As the Islanders were changing, they try to get it out in front, and it's picked off by Bunny Larocque.
Well, again, that line for the Islanders causing them damage. But there's Bruce Boudreau. Not in the lineup last night, but playing tonight. We also have Dave Farish scratched from tonight's game. He suffered a knee injury. Pat Hickey and Rocky Saganuk are also scratched from tonight's game.
All set to go. That's Henning out there now. Number 10, it's juggled. Bossy was right in front of that net.
The Buffalo Sabres have moved out in front of Vancouver in the first period. A goal by Hayworth. Remember, he was the the goal scorer in sudden death overtime last night.
Clark Gillies, it's always interesting to see how he's going to play. You just never know if he's going to really be into it or what's going to spark him. But as you know, when he gets into it, he's one of the most dominating forces on the ice.
Goring, Gillies on the forward line. Up for Bill Derlego. He shot it into the corner. Gillies in the Islander zone. And then also they pile in there with Langevin. Get a whistle.
There was certainly a lot of concern by the Leafs the way Gillies handled himself in front of the net. They just could not budge him out of there. And you know what impressed me about the Islanders a few years ago when he used to stand in front of the net? What they used to do is put their defenseman ahead of the screener and try to block the shots.
That's a planned play, you know, that we worked on.
Derlego gets it back to Melrose. His shot knocked down. Goes over to Ian Turnbull. He lets one go, and Smith stopped that. Langevin gets it up on the right side. It's cleared in by number 29, Hector Marini. And Goring got a shot with his weight, and it goes to Ian Turnbull. Turnbull's pass at center is going down the ice, but it was playable, so there's no icing. Now it's Butch Goring for Gillies, and they're going to change immediately. Darryl Sittler over the line. Melrose a shot high off the glass. Kept in by number 10, John Anderson. And a shot right on, and Smith covers up. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
So the Leafs have indeed changed lines. They have Sittler playing with Zanuzzi and Anderson playing against Trotier's line. So we'll have to watch that line matchup.
And Sittler had the draw, but it gets out past Selming, and he had to go back and get it. He shot it in via delayed whistle. Potvin had it knocked out. Now he brings it out himself the second time and shot it too far for Bossy. And if the Leaf player gets to it, then he does. It's icing.
I've always wondered, Chico, has Dennis Potvin really played to his potential since he's been in the National Hockey League?
Well, with his vast amount of talent, it's really hard to say. All I know is Denny has not had a good year. He hasn't been happy with his year. He's looking to the playoffs to sort of redeem himself and get something out of this year. And it's going to be interesting to see his level of play, because it can fluctuate greatly.
Dennis Potvin. Long pass up for Bossy, and it goes to Trottier. Trottier to Bourne. Bourne is hooked and knocked down. There's going to be a Leaf penalty. They're second in a row. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
Borje Salming in the penalty box on a hook. The Leafs are trying to stand up on that blue line and challenging, but when you have the likes of a Bobby Bourne who has that tremendous speed, that was the only way that Salming was able to stop him. So the Islanders again on the power play.
No score in the game. As the puck goes back, Islander territory. 15 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in the first period. No score. Now here come the Islanders up over the line for Bossy. Bossy was given a bump, and Bourne has to go back for it. Number 14. Pearson's got it now. Pearson gets over the line to Bob Bourne. Bob Bourne takes his shot, and it's deflected wide. Melrose clearing it, and it was knocked the rest of the way down the ice by Laurie Boschman, who is now being replaced. Running the face-up is Trottier shooting the puck in. It goes over for, here's right in front for Bossy, a shot. And Trottier just failed to put it in the net. Then they cleared the puck down the ice. Terry Martin goes up to do some forechecking. Pearson left it there, and that was a shot by Paymon. Islanders coming up. Bossy and Dennis Petfine up. There's Terry Martin, a shot. And Smith stopped that as the Islanders running into each other. Now it's Butch Goring over the line. Too far for Clark Gillies. Chopped down the ice.
Well, the Leafs are certainly challenging the Islanders more in this power play, not giving them a chance to set up in their own zone.
McEwen, a pass to Goring. Goring gets away from Boudreau. Over the line, tries to break through. The puck is still there, and it's finally whistled out.
Well, we have a big game at the Forum in Montreal where the Oilers last night won their first game. Let's hear from Danny Gallivan.
There's no score. First period, 14 minutes and 40 seconds of time remaining. There's Coffey in over the line. Hey! Coffey whipping that shot in over the left shoulder of goaltender 70.
An unassisted goal by rookie defenseman Paul Coffey. The Oilers lead the Canadiens 1-0.
13:32 remaining in this first period here at the Coliseum. No score. 10 seconds left in Salming's penalty. Long shot ends up in the corner. Juris tried to get it out and couldn't. Marini gets it back to Lorimer, and it's offside. It hopped over his stick. He shot it back in again. With the score, Toronto nothing, Islanders nothing. This is Stanley Cup 81.
Al got his new suit on tonight. Didn't look too worried. Pretty loose before the game, but the way the Islanders have started, I would think he would be a little concerned. They've been very sloppy, and the Leafs have really been taking advantage, looking good.
Melrose shot the puck down. Picked up by McEwen. McEwen of the Islanders. A pass intercepted by Turnbull. He in turn was checked by Lorimer. And the Leafs promptly shoot the puck right back in again. McEwen hitting it up all the way to center ice. Now it's batted down by Carroll. Carroll took a hit. Henning is out there with him, and also Bossy. So Bossy's playing on two lines, getting lots of ice time. Puck goes out to center ice. McEwen again, right on a Settlebauer's stick. Settlebauer was poke checked by Lauren Henning. Goes in and around on the board. Settlebauer has it. Gives it to Ian Turnbull. Turnbull down the ice over the line. Gets his shot away, and it's up into the crowd.
Well, assistant coach Lauren Henning is in the lineup tonight. John Tonelli had the ankle injury, so he is not in. Goaltender Iri Sira. What about his effort last night?
Oh, I thought it was a good effort, and he seems like the type of goalie that bounces back well, and I think if we see him, you know, farther on in the series, it's not going to affect him, because he could be pretty proud. He was sharp last night, but he just didn't seem to get the breaks, and I know what that's like. You'd sooner be lucky than good some nights, Gary.
Absolutely right. Gurley go out there with 5, and Dan Maloney. The Islanders have the puck. Pearson up to Gillies. Gillies fans on it. Now it's Langevin back for Gillies. He's tripped. Now a clearing pass out again, and it's Butch Goring for Marini, and that's offside.
Dan Maloney, also assistant coach. And Marini having a few words. Well, you wondered if the Leafs would try to change their tactics and provide a little muscle. A few of the plays have certainly indicated that. But I don't know. I don't think the Islanders can be intimidated.
No, that's a nice play, though, only because Danny finished the play off, and that's what you want to see, as you know. That little extra effort, just finishing everything off, just making the Islanders think a little bit.
Ricky Vive shot it out over the line. It's cleared back by Maloney. Juris stopped by Pearson, and the puck is knocked right back into the Leaf zone, and Salming will try his luck. Juris back to Salming. Salming up at center, a little skating room, and he hit Gillies, and it's offside.
Well, the Leafs have certainly had some time to make their plays for their defensemen, and they're controlling the puck pretty good at this stage. Well, an update on the out-of-town scores. Savard has got the second goal for Buffalo, and Butler has scored for Vancouver. Sabres still lead. Bill Barber, a veteran of that hockey club, has scored for Flyers. They lead the Nordiques in the first period 1-0.
And here at the Nassau Coliseum, there's no score with 11 minutes and 26 seconds remaining to play in the first period. Puck goes back to Juris. Juris, number 24, back pass to Salming. Salming shoots it in. Goes around on the boards. They jam there. It comes out. Juris goes to Salming. Salming shoots the puck in. Maloney goes after it. He missed it. They have it against the boards. Carroll. And now it's Pearson over the line to Gillies. Gillies shoots. It's right in the door. Goal. It was right in the goal crease, and then the net came off.
Well, Larocque made the original save, and then the puck just lying there. But Stefan Persson, he can let it go. Makes a good drop pass to Gillies this time. High shot.
And that can hurt. That can hurt there. Bunny was moving his arm a little bit afterwards, and Clarkie does that. I've told him, shoot a couple high and then keep that puck down, because I know goalies, I know myself. I was afraid of his shot, and if he gets you on your heels and then fires a low one, you got big trouble.
You know, we often talk about the teams out shooting other teams, but is shots really an indicator? You yourself a goaltender. Do you worry about the number of shots that are against you?
Well, last night Toronto got 41 shots, and except for the first period, I don't think they were indicative of the play, so I don't really like them unless they make a goalie look good, and they don't, so I don't like them.
Puck goes into the corner. Turnbull giving it to Anderson. Anderson with Sittler and Zanussi. Over the line. Shot it back to the net. Comes along the board. Potvin can't get it out. Zanussi is covered by Wayne Merrick. And then Potvin gets into it, and they get a whistle. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in a moment. We're back live here at the Nassau Coliseum, preparing for a face-off in the Islanders' territory, and it goes to Dennis Potvin. Potvin clearing it over, cleared out by Ken Morrow. Shot down into the Merritt, goes after it in Leaf territory. Shot along the boards. Zanussi gave it to Sittler. Sittler coming down with John Anderson over the line. And his pass intended for Turnbull just missed. Melrose stepped into Merrick. Dennis Potvin gets in over the line. Takes his shot. And Nystrom couldn't get the rebound. Now then Morrow will try it again over to Potvin. Ahead for Merrick. Nystrom stepped into Shand. Now it's up at center ice for Laurie Boschman over the line. A shot. Met that, no trouble with that off Martin's stick. Then Paymon is knocked down. Tried to get it out in front. And there's Bossy clearing it for Bourne. And it was into the crowd and out.
Well, something that the Leafs talked about. Nicolak was saying we have to challenge at that blue line. They're doing an excellent job. But here, Potvin certainly makes a fool out of a few of the Leafs, and he has done that to a few players.
Yeah, fortunately there he had a little tunnel vision. Bobby Nystrom was wide open on the right wing, and Denny, I guess, after making all those moves, was a little dizzy, and he didn't see his winger open. But actually, the Leafs had four guys maybe just a little over anxious and actually moved by Denny a little too quick.
Yeah, you have to take him. If you try to stick check him.
Puck slides around on the boards. Trottier after it. Gets it to Bourne. Out for Bossy, and Bossy just failed to get through. Leafs come right back. Boschman knocked it over the line, and it's chopped right back to center ice. Salming shoots it, and it goes into the crowd.
Well, a guy that was the first star of last night's game. 5-point night. Brian Trottier, but he does everything so well.
Oh, terrific. And his attitude is what makes it so special. And he's got the special attitude with Mike Bossy, which really makes the whole thing click. And I've always looked at Brian as the leader and the most important guy, a Daryl Sittler of the Islanders.
The puck is cleared over to Shan. Shan turns back to Salming. A shot. Another one right in front. But went down. Trottier to Bossy, and Bossy just clears it down the ice. Salming. A pass for Shan. Shan shoots the puck in. 8:31 remaining in the first period. There's no score in the game. Now then the Islanders. McEwen to Gillies. Gillies is over the line. Drops it on the right wing. There's the shot. And that was just wide. McEwen. He takes a backhand right down to Turnbull's stick. Play is called. And we have penalties. Live from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Now Clark Gillies and Barry Melrose had quite a battle going in front of the net. Both received 2-minute penalties for high sticking.
Now it's Langevin coming up to the Leaf line, tried to go all the way, went down as Shan got a piece of him. The Leafs come back. A long pass at center ice, and the Islanders then recover in their own zone. Billy Carroll, number 25, gets the puck. Gets it back to Pearson. Pearson comes up to center ice. Clearing pass over on the right wing to Carroll. Carroll shoots it in. The Rock stopped it back of the net. Shan. Clearing pass over on the wing to Turnbull. Turnbull for Robert. And it's shot out by the Islanders. Shan. Clears it down the ice. Langevin to Carroll. Carroll gives it to Lauren Henning, who shot it in. Ends up in the corner. Islanders changing. Five is given a buck. Derligo tries to get loose. Derligo goes in with a shot, and he was taken out of the play by Morrow. Now Bob Nystrom leaves it back of the net. Morrow for Dennis Potvin. He couldn't get out. Here's a pass for Vive, and it slides to Borje Salming. That goes into the corner. Back of the net for Vive. Vive trying to center it. Potvin watching him. The puck rolls out to center ice. 6:26 to go in the first period. No score in the game. Now it's Morrow to Dennis Potvin. A pass up for Nystrom, and Derligo gets it. Derligo, Vive over the line. A drop pass. Salming let one fly, and it comes all the way out to Nystrom. Nystrom and Gillies as the teams return to full strength. Here moving up is Butch Goring. Going back of the net. And he tried to set up Gillies. Vive brings it back to Derligo, and the Islanders break that up. 5 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the first period. No score in the game. Game 2. Trottier couldn't get loose. Bossy takes his shot. Laurent knocked it off to the side. And now the Leafs. Here's Sittler trying to get away. Hooked from behind. There's going to be a penalty to the Islanders when play stops. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
Islanders penalty to number 4.
Box on the hook against Daryl Sittler. You'll see Sittler trying to break out of his own zone, and there's Lorimer making contact. So what about the penalty killing of the Islanders? Do they challenge?
I think they do, yeah. I think they're real aggressive. They try to be, they go for the shorthanded goals as they did last night.
Bob Bourne couldn't get the puck out. Paymo was covered. The Islanders still fight for it, but Paymo's got it in the corner. Paymo to Daryl Sittler. Over to Salming. There's the shot. That's knocked down as Paymo just about got the rebound. Now it's Sittler. Goes back to Salming. Back to Sittler. He takes a shot. That was blocked. And it's cleared by the Islanders off the ankle of Salming out to center ice. René Robert to Salming. Salming's pass was nowhere near Paymo. Cleared down the ice by Langevin to center. Now Salming comes back again. They're offside. on Settlebauer going in too quickly.
Well, we have an update from Boston. Terry O'Reilly has scored the second goal for the Bruins and has narrowed the Minnesota lead. Now 3-2 in the second period.
Butch killed a lot of penalties over the years. Did it for LA, now doing it for the Islanders. Not particularly quick or strong, but real smart out there killing penalties.
You know the tendency, of course, when you have the man advantage, you figure when a team gets possession at shorthand, they're just going to ice it. They don't expect you to go offensively, and that's the time you can really take advantage of that way of thinking and get those shorthanded goals.
The Islanders have shot the puck down the ice. René Robert with it, number 14. 1 minute exactly remaining in the penalty. Shot by Salmi in. Smith snapped it, and Potvin gets it and then shoots it down the ice.
We had mentioned yesterday's telecast that after about the 10-minute mark, the snow really develops on this ice surface, and you'll find the team shooting that puck in a lot more than carrying it in. And we've noticed that.
Goring and Carroll are out there now. Potvin and Morrow. And it's cleared by Potvin right to Turnbull. Turnbull. 25 seconds left in the penalty to Lorimer, and no score in the game. It's Morrow. He shoots it out and down the ice as Goring was at center ice. He was in behind the Leaf defense, but it was too hard to handle. Gauthier knocks his man down, and hurt is Terry Martin. Back for McEwen. It comes up at center as the teams are back at full strength. Bourne went down. And Merrick couldn't control it. Morrow then for Angevin. Comes out to center ice. Wayne Merrick, he shoots it in. Going after it is Gary Howlett. Play is called. And there's going to be penalties, I believe.
Did that look like a little bit of frustration? Because the Leafs are certainly making contact. They're taking the Islanders out at every opportunity.
Laurie Boschman did a good job there. Gary Howard trying to forecheck strongly. Laurie, the secret is to get your body right on the guy you're trying to check. Then you can get the stick in there and hook a little bit, and the referee doesn't see it. And Laurie was doing that real effectively, and Gary took offense to it, turned around and made an obvious hit in the mouth, and he's in the penalty box, and the Leafs have another chance for a power play.
And they send out Darryl Sittler. And there you see Dennis Potvin. Al Arbor back to the bench.
Well, we have certainly seen a higher level of play by the Leafs, but they've been making contact. They're checking a lot closer, but also trying to stop the Islanders from carrying that puck in. They've really stood up in that blue line, and they've broken up a lot of plays.
Trottier and Bourne are out there as the Islanders clear it back. René Robert trying to pick his way out. Comes up through center. He blasted around on the board. Going into the board was Potvin. Here's out to Selming. A shot. Smith stopped that. And it's cleared by Trottier down the ice. Settlebauer was right in the thick of things. Standing in front of the net. Back for Darryl Sittler. Sittler shoots it in. It goes into the corner. Morrow for Trottier. That's broken up. Comes back and goes past Sittler down the ice. Gloria Salming with 2:06 remaining in the first period. No score in the game. 1:08 in the penalty. Sittler coming to center. Gets it over to Robert. Robert makes a nice move, but it's offside Paymo.
Well, tomorrow is traveling day for the teams, and the playoff picture resumes Saturday night. Buffalo will be at Vancouver. Viewers in BC, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Atlantic provinces. For those people in Ontario, you will see the Islanders at Maple Leaf Gardens.
Bill Derlego, Rick Vibe, Dan Maloney, Robert, and Turnbull. Robert Over to Turnbull. Turnbull shoots the puck in. It bounces. Gloved by Smith. Into the corner. Comes out in front. And the Islanders with Morrow having no trouble getting that puck down the ice. Turnbull to Robert. Robert is checked by Carroll. He goes back to Potvin. 32 seconds left in the penalty. Now Bob Bourne for Carroll. Carroll down over the line. Too well covered along the boards, and the Leafs come back. Derlego up with 5. Derlego tried to go to Maloney. Turnbull lets the shot go, and Smith stopped that. Now Bob Bourne shoots it out to center ice. 9 seconds left in the penalty. 5 over the line. 5 still has it, and he's checked. Bob Bourne up for Howard. Howard was checked by Salming. Salming has lost his glove. Up for Wayne Merrick. Merrick missed a body check. Nystrom in over the line. And Zanussi shoots it out. Martin goes after it, but it's covered by Pearson. Now it's in for Zanussi. That puck is deflected out over the line. And Salming brings it back in offside.
Well, during our first intermission, Dave Hodge will have a look at the Canadian playoff recap, get the highlights, so you have a chance to see those. And also, Dave and Chico will talk about power play, the Islander power play, and what it's like playing against it. Two more goals in Philadelphia. Bridgman for the Flyers and Peter Stastny, who has had just a magnificent season. 2-1 Flyer lead in the first.
22 seconds remain in this first period. No score.
Seems to have some kind of problem with that glass down there.
Happens a lot here. I guess from what I'm told from the building manager, the glass is old. They've had a new owner, new corporation take over the building. They're in the process of buying new glass. But I've seen at least 25, 35 pieces of glass break, some of them falling on people and cutting them. So it's really a dangerous situation.
Be surprised what you can do with tape. Well, we've seen some good hits here tonight. Both teams have really decided to use the body. Salming and Howitt having a little discussion there.
Gary's got a high voice. I didn't see anybody hit the glass, and maybe he yelled at at Boria and he broke the glass. I don't know.
Islanders have possession of the puck. Comes over to Langevin. Langevin was knocked down. Merrick was bumped along the boards as well. Now Stephen Pearson gets it to Nystrom right out in front. Now it could get a shot as the horn goes to end the first period.
Well, I don't know who talked to the Leafs, but they have brought up their level of play tremendously.
Now here's Dave Hodge.
Well, this was a first period played at an absolute snail's pace. It seems that the line matchups, some different combinations on both sides, have been creating confusion. But the bottom line for the Maple Leafs is beneficial. They are even after one period tonight after being down 2-0 last night when they had plenty of offensive thrust, especially with a two-man advantage for 90 seconds. They had a couple power plays this time, as did the New York Islanders, but neither team really seemed to have a lot of organization to its attack. The Maple Leafs obviously sticking to their checks a little better than last night, and the Leafs are where they want to be relative to where they were last night. But entertaining hockey it wasn't. It was the ragged sort of hockey you might expect to see at the beginning of the season and not in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Coming up next, we have highlights of last night's opening games in series involving Canadian teams. And so the score at the end of the first period here is Toronto 0 and the New York Islanders 0. The first game of the Leaf Islanders series was a runaway, a romp, a cakewalk, a blowout. Call it what you will. The New York Islanders had things all their own way in skating to a 9-2 victory over the Leafs. Actually, the Leafs didn't play a bad first period. They were down 2-0, but didn't get what would be called breaks. And then they scored early in the second period to draw within 1. At that point, if there could be a turning point in a 9-2 game, the Islanders seized the opportunity when, for the second time in this contest, the Leafs were penalized for having too many men on the ice. And that led to an Islander power play goal, and the man who usually scores on the Islander power play did on this occasion. Mike Bossy took a pass from Dennis Potvin, and he fired the puck past Yuri Sirha. The score again is 2-1 Islanders, nearing the midway mark of the second period when Bossy fires it in from Dennis Potvin and Brian Trottier, and it was 3-1, and now the Islanders were away to the races. Trottier had 5 points in the night, 1 point shy of tying a Stanley Cup single-game record, and this was his first of 2 goals. Skated down the left wing, just waited until he saw an opening and beat Sirha. And then shortly thereafter, again on an Islander power play, Stefan Persson will pass the puck to Bossy and will get it back, and Trottier will deflect this shot by Stefan Persson. The Islanders are now up by a score of 5-1, and they won it 9-2. This is Dave Hodge on Long Island.
Most of the people predicting the way the Stanley Cup playoffs would go called the Montreal Canadiens to eliminate the Edmonton Oilers, likely in 3 straight games. Well, cancel that prediction. Last night, in a real shocker at the Forum here in Montreal, the Oilers were totally dominant and full value for a series-opening 6-3 win. It was the Wayne Gretzky show on the ice and on Hockey Night in Canada. This is Gretzky setting up Anderson for the first Edmonton goal. It came early in the game and really set the tone for the rest of the night. From then on, the Oilers were almost totally in command, except for a time in the second period when the Canadiens had some chances and couldn't cash in. This is Gretzky again in his favorite spot, back of the net, and Yari Curry, playing in his first Stanley Cup game, beats Richard Sevigny. He scored twice in the game. Gretzky, a 5-assist performance to equal the National Hockey League record. Early in the third period, sets up Brett Callaghan. That's Gretzky's 4th assist. His 5th came on an empty net goal by Callaghan. So a 6-3 win. Edmonton shocking the Canadiens in Montreal.
It is scoreless in the first intermission, game number 2, the Maple Leafs and the New York Islanders. And Chico Resha and I want to talk about the Islanders' power play, which one way or another is going to be a big part of this series and any series the Islanders play. Last night it was productive. Tonight, so far, that hasn't been the case. But now, as a Colorado Rocky, or wherever you might end up, you see the Islanders' power play as opponents. Is there any one man you can look at and worry about more than another, or is this 5 guys coming at you that any one of whom can be the person that beats you?
Well, that's right, Dave. And I think to stop any good power play, it starts in 2 places. First of all, in the other team's end. And that, I think, is the key tonight. The Leafs aren't doing much different in their own end, but in the Islander end, they've got one man really pursuing, really taking a chance down there rather than just going in, picking up the wings and trying to come back. I think you try to eliminate Brian Trottier bringing the puck up. Leafs have done that. Now, if they get the puck up into your end, I think you have to gamble a little bit more. I mean, you can't say, we're going to let them set up and just try and hold them on the perimeter of the box for 2 minutes. It's not going to happen. You've got to gamble and try and force them to be off their game a little bit. And sure, you may open up one good shot, but even if the guys are synchronized, somebody can maybe force that guy. And you just have to say, look, they're going to get some good shots, but let's force it and gamble a little bit, and maybe we'll come up with some loose pucks, and maybe they'll only get 1 or 2 good chances.
What it seems, they seem to be getting some forceful play out of defensemen at center ice. They're taking a few chances rather than waiting for the... If you wait for this power play, it's going to beat you. That's what you're really saying, right?
That's the whole thing, Davey. Like you said, the defenseman backing over the blue line is deadly because Brian Trottier is going to come down, or Denny or Mike Bossy, and they're going to set up, and then it's going to start from there. So you're going to get into trouble somewhere. Somewhere you're going to have to make your stand. Why not make it in the offensive zone where if you do get beat, at least you still got time to recover that rather than right in front of your net where it's going to be in the net by the time you do recover.
The fans should probably watch on the Islander power play the way the points are used, right?
Definitely, and the thing, the Islanders got 3 defensemen that they use. Dennis is on the left side one time working with Stefan, and then maybe half the power play, they'll put Dennis right down the center who's got the good shot. And if it's me, I would say give Denny the shot, try and keep Boss and Trotch from working that 2-on-1 on that one outside defenseman where Brian likes to get it back and give a quick pass to Boss, and he usually puts it in the net.
The best way to stop the Islander power play is something we haven't said yet, though, and that's don't take a penalty, right?
That'll help.
We'll return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
We're back here at the Nassau Coliseum, where there's no score in the game. The Islanders nothing, the Maple Leafs nothing, and Toronto outshot the Islanders 9-5.
In the second period now, Gingras has scored. That game is tied. Coffey got the first Edmonton Oiler goal. Buffalo still ahead of Vancouver. Savard and Hayworth. Butler for Vancouver. Bill Barber's second goal of the game has now given the Flyers a 2-goal cushion in the second period.
All set to start the second period. Pearson gets it over the line, but it's offside. Marini.
A youngster that is just blessed with a lot of staying power, very tough along the boards. Marini actually is in the lineup because of a few injuries to the Islanders. Keller is out right now, and he's taken his spot, but the guy is strong along the boards. Not the best skater in the world, but once he gets there, watch out.
Marini, number 29, and that's Butch Goring and Clark Gillies. Derlego, Vive, and Dan Maloney. Pearson goes after the puck. Hit by Dan Maloney. Marini trying to get it loose. Got it up for Goring. Goring just shoots it to center ice. Cleared back by Harry Melrose. Puck is Langevin. Watched. It came out in front of the net. Now the Islanders overskate the puck. Marini and a shot. Smith cleared off to the side. Gillies gets it back to Langevin, then to Pearson, back to Langevin. Up through center. Now he shoots it in. It's off the boards. There's a shot by Marini wide. Howard tried to trap it, and it had too much steam and goes down the ice. Then it's Potvin. He's back in the net. Clears a pass up to Marini. Marini left it there for Merrick. Merrick comes over the line. Into the corner, centered it right in front of the net, and Zanussi comes up with it. Zanussi for Sittler, broke it up by Nystrom and shot right back in again. Howard ran into Bunny Leroy. Leafs get no further than center, and they get a whistle. From the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, this is Stanley Cup 81.
Still no score here at the Island in the second period. We understand that Butch Goring has left for the Islander dressing room, and as soon as we get a report, we'll pass it on.
Okay, Gary, and the puck can out to center ice. Picked up by Merrick. Merrick shoots the puck in. Bunny Larocque trapped it. Howard tried to get to the puck. Zanussi shot it out to center ice. Cleared off the boards by Morrow. And Anderson gets it now for the Leafs. Anderson straight down the ice over the line. A drop pass and a collision there. Sittler and Dennis Potvin, and play ends.
Now, how effective were the Leafs in that first period? 5 shots for the Islanders, only 3 by the forwards. I mean, the Islanders looked disorganized out there. They didn't expect the Leafs to come out to eliminating that man. And the Leafs certainly have done that.
A further update in Buffalo. Danny Gare has scored that third goal for the Sabres. Now 3-1 in the second period.
And of course, there's no score here at the Nassau Coliseum with 17:59 remaining in the second period. Puck tipped to center ice. Slavajuris to Anderson. Anderson couldn't get it over the line. The Islanders now with Trottier. He hooks it over on the left wing. Bob Bourne overskates it. McEwen. Now then we have Trottier mixing it up. Here's a pass over the line for Bourne. And Bourne bumps into Larocque. It's knocked out to center. Here's the Leafs 3-on-1. Boschman going in. Back to Anderson. Oh, and he passed it behind. Came off. Now the Islanders come back. Bossy fakes his shot. Another shot. Knocked down behind the net. Trottier up the boards for Bourne. in for Trottier again. Trottier getting it over. It slides along the boards. McEwen chopped at it and went over the glass. And Gary Dornhoefer, that was a wasted pass.
You know, you only get so many opportunities on a 3-on-1 break. That doesn't happen in a game that often. But let's watch the Leafs. I mean, this is awful. Anderson, you'll never get a better chance to shoot it from. Why make that extra pass?
Especially when things aren't going well. If things are really clicking, you get fancy. But in a game where it's 0-0, things haven't been going well, I say you keep it basic, but it's easy, you know, to second guess up here. But I just think, you know, go for the sure thing and see what happens.
You know, anytime there's a shot on net, if it doesn't go in, there's always that opportunity for a rebound. The Leafs had 2 guys already converging on the net.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd like to have that one over.
All set to go for the faceoff. Number 25, Billy Carroll. Pearson shot it in. Turnbull tried to get it out. It shot off the boards and down the ice. Stopped by Pearson. Pearson. And now Marini to Clark Gillies. He's hooked. There's going to be a penalty to the Leafs. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
Well, the Islanders broke out, but it was actually a 2-on-2 break. That's the time when you really don't want to take a penalty. Turnbull would have been better off just looking behind and picking up a trailer.
That's right. Well, Clark isn't a great playmaker, so, you know, he's not going to go through 2 or 3 guys.
McEwen to Potvin. Back to McEwen. McEwen to Potvin. The Islanders move up now with a man advantage. Over the line for Dennis Potvin. He stops. Takes a shot right in front. And Bunny Larocque went down and made a good save on that.
There's another example, the value of a Dennis Potvin. How all it is sliding the shot at the net. He sees his winger breaking, looking for the deflection. There to the left of your screen, heading for the net. The perfect timing. Larocque actually makes this great play here by coming up with a save.
I like what I'm seeing in Bunny tonight. He's got that special concentration going. He's looked real sharp.
Dennis Potvin shoots one wide. It's into the corner, back of the net. Shot by the Leafs, but not out. Carroll goes to the blue line to McEwen. McEwen takes his shot. He fired it wide. Dennis Potvin. He's checked, and Laurie Boschman shoots the puck down the ice. Mike McEwen in for Clark Gillies.
There's that forcing. We talk about the Leafs. You know, there's a few giveaways. The Islanders throw the puck around the boards, kill off a lot of valuable seconds.
Potvin up to center ice. Over the line, takes his shot, and Bunny Larocque made a great save on that with his glove. Now Gillies. Puck is at the blue line, finally comes out. Dennis Potvin over for Bossy. Knocked over the line. Trottier couldn't get near it. Comes all the way back out to Dennis Potvin. To Bossy. Now it's Pearson over the line. 4 of them. It goes to Bourne. Bourne gets it back. He gets right in front. Takes his shot, and he shot it wide. Trottier was right after the side of the net. And the Leafs clear the puck down the ice. Lego goes after it, but Pearson beat him to it. A penalty is over, and the Leafs are back at full strength. Salming heading it up to center right. Over the line for Vine, but shot. Derlego couldn't get the rebound, and Trottier straight back up at center. Got the puck into the corner. And Maloney has it. No score in the game. 14-17 and counting remaining in the second period. Derlego a hard shot. Smith knocked that down. Maloney centered it, but there were 3 Islanders in front of the net. Down now for Wayne Merrick. Bob Nystrom takes a shot, and he fired it wide. Howitt to Merrick again. He goes down, gets it to Nystrom. Nystrom hooks it back. Here comes the shot, and that is deflected off the legs Zanuzzi all the way down the ice. Stephen Pearson shooting it down the ice too. That's going to be icing. The Leaf player gets to it, and he does. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
We look at Bob Nystrom again playing a very aggressive game. Zanuzzi of the Leafs has just gone to the Leaf dressing room. It's been that kind of a hitting game. We'll get a further report on him.
He was a gentleman that made that big block there, that good second effort block, and Dennis Potvin right at the end before the whistle.
The puck comes back to the blue line. Melrose's shot. That's wide. The rebound to Nystrom. Nystrom clears it to the blue line. Wayne Merrick knocked it out to center ice. Goes back in. Nystrom was checked. Here's Anderson trying to get a shot. And Smith goes down and covers that.
You know, John Anderson just doesn't want to shoot that puck. Again, he was in a good position to shoot it. Was going for Sittler going down the wing. And now let's hear from Dave Hodge.
Butch Goring's not out there for the Islanders. The word from the Islander room is that he was slashed in the left hand and has suffered a cut. He is being attended to now and is expected back on the bench and on the ice shortly.
Okay, Dave, and we're all set for the face-off in the Islander zone. Sittler, Anderson, and Robert. Puck comes back to the blue line. And it was shot in by Turnbull after it had been outside, and that's offside.
Well, it's an intentional offside, so it'll go in the Leafs end zone. But did the Islanders look a little frustrated at this stage of the game?
They do. Leafs are playing an excellent game, and from their standpoint, it's just too bad they haven't put something on the board, because they've had a 3-on-1, a 2-on-1. They've picked off some passes. They've really been aggressive and really held the play, but unfortunately for them, the score is 0-0, and that's really the bottom line.
You know, I'm always interested to know, for a goaltender, is there complete concentration? How about when the play is in the other end? Are you still concentrating, or what are you thinking about?
When you really have that special concentration, you do, and it looks like Bunny has that tonight. He's really on top of his game.
That's Dave Chan bringing the puck up for the Leafs. He shoots it in. Smith cleared it into the corner. They go after it. And his puck fan missed it. Famous center. The puck goes into the corner as Martin was knocked down. Now here's Gillies giving it on the right side. Remy. And Gillies gets there to pick it up. Gillies of the Islanders taken to the boards by Salmon.
Well, we have a further report for Montreal, and I guess the Canadians better take the Oilers seriously. Here's Danny Gallivan.
Back it goes. Here's Coffey taking the shot. Leg saved by 70. Now it's back. Stiltonen going in for the shot. He scores! A booming blast by number 8, Stiltonen.
So Finnish star Risto Siltanen has given the Oilers a 2-1 lead, and of course Wayne Gretzky was involved in the play.
At center ice now, Lauren Henning. Trottier is out there as well with Bossy. The puck is kept in by Bossy. He's going right in. Shoots! Score!
That's what happens when you shoot the puck.
But the giveaway. Watch Shan behind the net, looking to throw it up the wing, and there's the interception. Boy, does that guy know what to do with it once he gets a hold of it. Mike Bossy.
There, he just whips that puck. That was a good shot of the way Mike shoots the puck. There's no telegraphing it. Comes off that stick in a little flick motion. You don't know where it's going. And ended up in the net, unfortunately, for Toronto.
Well, it's very important now for the Leafs just to keep their cool, not run around, keep their composure, and perhaps that goal will certainly give the Islanders a lift.
There's Bossy again, giving it over to Langevin. Langevin gets it up for Henning. Henning gave it away to Salming. Now the Islanders will try it again. Bossy Moving over the line. A tip pass to Trottier shot. And he just missed. And the Islanders are starting to open up. Here's Trottier going in. He scores! And Gary Dornhofer, when they hit fast.
That's what happened last night. Let's watch the Islanders at their best. Trottier, I mean, nobody challenges him, so why not go right in front of the net?
That's what he does so well. A lot of players go past him. Now watch here. Brian's going to fake the pass across to Mike Bossy, who you have to watch. And Bunny goes to poke check it. Just missed it. And Brian, who's so good around the net, just throws it in the far corner.
That only took 39 seconds. Would Bunny LaRocque have been able to do anything, perhaps try to deflect that puck away from Trottier?
Well, I think he was worried about the man in front. And I think he was looking for the pass just a little bit, but really there isn't much you can do.
And the Islanders again. A quick pass over the line. A shot, and that was stopped by LaRocque. Now the Leafs try to bring it out. Cleared, and Lorimer flipped it over the board.
Now the Leafs were not able to keep their composure, and the Islanders struck very fast. The Sabres have added another goal. This time, Savard scoring his second of the game, 4-1. In the second period, the North Stars, that jinx is over. Maxwell and Payne in the second period have scored. McNabb has replied for Boston, but Minnesota 5-3.
Yeah, it happens that way though a lot. You break that jinx, it just completely turns around for you sometimes.
We had a look at Mike Nicolak. You know, he's thinking, what can this team do? We played so well for a period, and then whoops.
It's cleared into the Islander zone. Dan Maloney goes after it. He and Lorimer beat him to it. Wayne Merrick with Nystrom. Going over with Howard. Howard was just a shade ahead of the play.
You know, a lot of times we have mentioned so often the importance of that slot man. You know, when two men go into forecheck, of course, you're trying to make contact. The first man take the man. The second man look for the loose puck. Al Arbor, he must certainly talk about that slot man. Even for a goaltender, when you're at the other end, boy, you hope that guy is back.
Well, that's the whole key to forechecking, having that one guy high in the slot. And that's what the Leafs were doing, but now they're down 2-0. Now they're going to be forced to kind of get away from that style a little bit and open up to try and get these 2 goals back.
You know what happens when they do that? Then you become very vulnerable for breaks against it.
That's right.
The puck at center ice. Clark Gillies holds it against the boards along with Boudreau.
You know, something that is really a change has been made since we've all those European players, the crossover. And the Islanders do quite a bit of that also, don't they?
Oh, they do, yeah. Well, they work on it every practice. There's no more up and down in the lanes.
And the Leafs with Juris. A long pass. That was stopped by Pearson. Came to Salming, who was given a bump. Rennie Robert to Settlebauer. Settlebauer gets over the line, gets his shot, and that's high and wide. Another shot ends up in the corner on this side. Settlebauer shot it around again, and it's Clark Gillies going after it. Salming beat him to it. Salming is back inside his own blue line. Shot back out to center. Settlebauer. And it's finally cleared by Juris. A pass over to Pearson. It goes up. Marini goes into the corner after it for the Islanders. Carroll is jamming there as well. The Islanders get the puck. Comes back. There's a shot. And Bourne just failed to deflect it. As the Leafs control the puck now, trailing 2-0. Puck was knocked down with a high stick. With the score of the Islanders 2 and Toronto 0. This is Stanley Cup 81. Here's the New York Islanders Stanley Cup flag hanging from the rafters here at the Nassau Coliseum. Back for Dennis Potvin. To Morrow. Morrow gets it up for Bossy. Bossy at center. Takes a long shot. It bounces into the corner. Trottier is being watched there by Zanuzzi. And that's where play ends.
You know, something that we haven't talked about, but as the series progresses, certainly will become a factor. The first series is 4 games in 5 nights. Now, the team that can win in 3 straight is going to have that rest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And that's going to be a big factor because in the next series, the first 2 games, the first 4 games, there's 2 games back-to-back, a day off, and then 2 more back-to-back. At least it was last year. I assume it's the same setup this year. So it can be real grueling if it goes the limit in all the series.
Back up for John Anderson. Anderson's over the line. Stops. Still has it. Flipped it behind Turnbull when he finally takes the shot, and that goes over the glass.
How much pre-scouting is done by the Islanders?
A lot. You know, most
especially the last month. You know, what are they normally looking at? Let's say, for instance, the Leafs.
It's mostly the films, and then they get a pretty good idea. They know how the Leafs are going to try and check them and so forth. But it's mostly matchups, line matchups, what it gets down to.
The shot is wide of the net. It goes into the corner. Bob Bourne then gets it to Trottier. Brian Trottier comes down to his own line. Up at center. A pass to Bossy. Bossy's over the line. Trottier trying to hook it loose. He's got it right in front. There's a shot. The rock is down, and they hold it out.
Some anxious moments in the Leafs zone, and we have an update at Boston. McAdam has scored his 2nd goal of the game, and the North Stars, that jinx seems to be over.
Sure does, and I wonder what type of series it's been. You know, they expected a real physical series. I don't know how the first game went, but I would think now is the time that Boston's going to probably try and change that with some intimidation if they can, but it looks like it may be too late for that.
Coach Glenn Sonmer had said that if the Bruins want to play rough style, we will be ready for them.
They obviously were.
Ready to go. Wayne Merrick facing off. Shan shoots it around on the boards. McEwen couldn't keep it in. Howitt has it at his own line. Over to Lorimer. Lorimer gets it up, and it's shot into the crowd.
Gary Howitt, the fire plug of this hockey club. Very difficult to play against. You're either going to have an elbow or a glove or a stick or something in the face. Another example that you don't have to score a lot of goals to be effective. Philadelphia Flyers. Barber has the hat trick, and Tom Gorence has also scored. Alan Stastny has scored for the Quebec Nordiques, their 2nd goal.
Into the corner for Terry Martin in Island territory. Merrick covered by Pamo. Comes out to Gary Howitt. Howitt couldn't get it out as Salming had him covered. It's offside, though. It did go out and knocked back in again. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in a moment. We're back live, and the action has just started with 7:47 to go in the 2nd period, and the Islanders leading 2-0. Puck ends up along the boards. Eric couldn't keep it in, and it's cleared out to center ice. Now Lorimer. Over it goes to McEwen. McEwen for Nystrom. Stopped by Martin. Then Lorimer carries on up, and they clear the puck in. Again. Stopped by Merrick. Puck goes to Gary Howitt. Back to Nystrom. Nystrom took a shot. Salming tried to... There's McEwen's shot. And there's another shot. And that was just wide. Cleared back down the ice. McEwen turning for the Islanders to Nystrom. Shot it over on the wing. Islanders changing on the go. Puck is cleared. Back Gillies to Lorimer. A long pass for Gillings, he goes racing after. Melrose is hit hard, and here comes Hilder Lego with Dan Maloney over the line. He tried to get it a vibe. He did. Smith goes down, covers up, and holds on.
I think Rick Vide was a little upset. There could have been a penalty. Butch Goring hooked him all the way down the ice. When he got the puck, he was in a good spot to shoot. But again, Butch was hooking him, so he wasn't able to get a good enough shot away. And I think when he went by Davey Longevin, he was just frustrated. He just gave him a little whack, and Davey punched back, and I guess they're both going to get penalties.
Live from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
2 for roughing, 13-35.
Well, we had two penalties. Langevin and Vive both getting penalties. One for roughing, and Vive's was for high sticking at 13:35.
You know, it's amazing how the Islanders have shut down the Leafs in their own zone. I don't think they've given up a good scoring opportunity.
No, there was that 2-on-1 and the 3-on-1, which originated in the Leaf end, and that's been about it.
Juris to Salming. Teams playing even. Puck goes to the corner. It's René Robert unable to do anything with it, so Trottier gives it to Dennis Potvin. Potvin just taking his time. For Trottier, there goes Trottier, number 19, out at center. A long shot, that's back of the net. Willie Carroll went down. Now it's Lauren Henning, and he was checked, but he goes right back to get it. Henning's got it. Henning shoots it over to the far side to Potvin. Now he goes to Morrow. Oh, shot it behind. There's a class in front. And that's knocked down the ice. And it's Potvin. Coming up through center. Pass to Carroll. Back to Potvin. Potvin takes a shot. And Salming breaks that up and comes out of his own zone. Up to center ice. Over the line. Got the puck into the corner. Carroll was given a bump. Puck comes loose, and Smith is down. It goes to Henning. Henning having all kinds of difficulty. Now he turns. Still waiting for a change, and Potvin's got the puck. Butch Goring is back and on the ice. Henning gets possession, and that's what the Islanders appear to be doing out there during after. They're really want to check, and possess that puck.
Well, when you have that 2-0 lead, you can certainly do that.
It's over the line. Turnbull trying to get through. There's a shot, and it's into the corner. Now Sittler and Turnbull. Turnbull's shot is going high over the glass.
Now we look at Ken Morrow, winner of the gold and the silver last season. We will have a feature on Ken Morrow during our second intermission. And also Dave Hodge will speak to Mike Bossy, who has picked up 2 points in this hockey game tonight. There's Mike. Great camera work, isn't it? Great camera work.
4 minutes, 22 seconds remaining to play in the second period. Islanders 2, the Maple Leafs nothing.
Calgary has jumped out to a 1-0 lead over the Blackhawks. That goal was by Bobby McMillan.
McEwen shooting it to Marini, and Goring over to Clark Gillies. There's the shot. The Rock stopped that. Gillies gets the rebound. Jammed out of the play. And now the Leafs come back. Sittler, a long pass for Zanussi. And McEwen was there. Off the boards. Marini gives it to Goring. Goring over to Gillies. And his shot was wide. Here's Marini. Trying to center it. Now the Leafs break it up. John Anderson coming down the ice. Over the line to Sittler. Back for Anderson. Too far. The puck came out in front of the net, and the Islanders have it. Marini. 4 of them are going up. Over the line. And it's just flicked into the corner by Marini. so that the Islanders could change. 3:21 to go in the second period. Islanders have a 2-0 lead. Pearson and Zanuzzi. Puck along the boards. Out at center. Boschman over to Paymal. Paymal shot. Smith went down. Played it over for Nystrom. Too hard. Juris pass for Martin, and Smith leaves it there. Langevin and Pearson. It's back of the net, and they get a whistle.
Now, what do the Leafs have to do here? They're still not getting those concentrated attacks, but you'll get a chance to answer that in a second.
This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. And we're back live. Islanders leading by a score of 2-0. Boschman, Martin, and Paymo. Howitt, Merrick, and Nystrom for the Islanders. Puck goes to the corner. Langevin cleared it around on the boards. At least trying to get a hold of it. Paymo did. Got it back of the net. Martin shot it to the blue line. There's a drive. That was stopped by Smith. It was cleared back. There's a shot by Juris right on. And Billy Smith was equal to the task.
I guess that's what the Leafs have to do. Get more of a concentrated attack going.
Well, they used the points well there. 2 good shots from the points, and maybe that's a secret. Let's have a look here. Nice shot, and Smitty leaves a rebound. And here's one thing the Leafs have had trouble doing is capitalizing on those rebounds. The first period especially. And there's another wrist shot. Smitty hangs on. But I think the Leafs just have to remember that they're down 2-0. Think in terms of one. Think of one goal. They're within one. It can happen anytime to tie it up. They can't think of in terms of 2 or 3.
Well, there certainly is a lot of time left, but I thought the Islanders are doing an excellent job of picking up that loose man so they don't get the good rebound shot.
Bossy to Trottier. Trottier into the corner. There's going to be a penalty here to the Leafs. Came right in front. Oh, and Trottier's shot. Down goes McEwen. It's back of the net, but there's going to be a penalty to the Maple Leafs.
I guess if you're looking for a key part in this hockey game, it should develop right now with the Leafs having to play a man short and only 2 minutes and 3 seconds left to go in this second period.
Toronto penalty to number 21.
Well, certainly, as I say, a 2-goal deficit. You score 1, you're within 1. It's no big deal. You get down 3, especially at the end of a period, it makes it tough. Borje Salming, oh, this is just after the penalty was taken. Identical to the goal Brian scored on it. Bunny was looking for it there, and he made a good save.
But Salming is all over Bobby Bourne, and so again the Islanders, who have not really had the opportunities on the power play due to the fact that the Leafs have been very aggressive in their forechecking, especially in the Islander zone. And as Chico had said during our first intermission, that's where you really have to put the pressure on them, not give them a chance to set up in their own zone and come out as a unit.
Trottier, Bourne, Bossy. Puck is shot. Dennis Potvin knocks it down. Potvin setting it up. Drops it back. There's a shot. Oh, and right in front. Bossy goes after it, and he shot it wide. Trottier being watched by Turnbull. And down he goes. Play is called.
Well, that'll show you something else about a Brian Trottier, how he's able to have that good balance. That was about the first time I've seen Trottier get knocked down. Tremendous upper body strength, balance.
There, Ian Turnbull shows a lot of spunk there. That's a good sign. They're still into it. They're fighting along the boards. They're doing everything they have to. And if they could kill this penalty off, again, they're not in that bad a shape. They saw a new wrinkle there on that power play. I don't know if we'll see it again, if it was just ad-libbed or if it's something Dennis and Michael has practiced. But Mike goes around and drops a puck to Denny, and he curls in and takes that shot.
We see the St. Louis score. Micheletti has given the Blues a 1-0 lead. That is in the first period. But I like the way the Islander defensemen move in from their board position to the center ice area to give them that good angle to shoot the puck on the net. They do that constantly.
1 minute and 46 seconds remain in the period as the puck is shot down the ice. Salming has a 136. Now Dennis Potvin leads a four-man rush. Got it up to Trottier, over to Bourne. He rolled it across in front. Bossy gets it back. Pearson, and then Bossy relay was deflected out to center ice. Now here comes Dennis Potvin over the line. Hits it around to Bossy. Bossy couldn't control it, and Pearson and Trottier have to go back. Trottier back way ahead of Pearson. Gets it to Bossy, to Pearson. Less than a minute to go in this, the second period. Cleared up to Trottier. Trottier over on the wing. Bossy's over the line. Bossy stops. Clears it right in front. They puck. Good! Trottier. Beautiful shot right into the top right-hand corner.
That combination of Brian Trottier and Mike Bossy has been dynamite. Look at the balance of Bossy. Gets knocked down, gets up, and still able to make a perfect pass.
Right on the stick and the old-time wrister, Gary. Brian does that so well. He just uses that old wrist shot, and Bunny got a piece of that. But look at Brian's. Now, a great play here by Mike. And Brian maybe was going to go off the ice, but he comes flying in there, and puck's right on his stick. And look, he'll be well inside the circle here. So Bunny really doesn't have much chance. And Brian makes a good shot. You'll see it just go through the arm. And really a tough goal at this stage of the game.
Another example of that man coming late and nobody picking him up. Everybody's attracted by the puck instead of looking around to see where's that loose man. Who's the most dangerous man out there? Can I get a hold of him? Trottier in the clear, and you saw the damage that that guy can do.
So we have 37 seconds remaining in the second period. 3-0 as Smith stopped that. McEwen flipping it to the blue line and out. Salming gets it back to Juris. Juris at his own line. Salming, he's knocked down. He goes right on. Robert. Over to Salming. He just chopped it out to center ice with 12 seconds. Lorimer up for Nystrom. Nystrom pokes it into the corner. 7 seconds. Juris comes out for the Leafs. Up to center ice. And the horn goes to end the second period. And so the score at the end of the second period is New York Islanders 3, Toronto nothing.
The Islanders, after a scoreless first period, in a commanding position once again after two, as Mike Bossy scored, and then Brian Trottier had 2. And Bossy and Trottier now have 7 points apiece in these playoffs after only one full game and 2/3 of another one. And here is the man who scored 50 goals in 50 games. And this is the season every record seems to be broken. Mr. Gretzky, yourself, and maybe playoff records aren't long for the books either. Of course, Brian Trottier scored 29 points last season in leading the Islanders to the Stanley Cup. However, the first period tonight, would flat describe the Islanders' performance? And I wonder how much of that is in terms of what the Leafs are doing differently.
Well, I think that we were a little flat. I think that you know, coming off of last night's game, we might have been a little tired. I don't think overconfident is a word, because we weren't overconfident. And the Leafs came out with a better brand of hockey in the first period. But, you know, we poured it on in the second. And, you know, our motto is to work hard every shift and not let up. And it finally paid off for us. We got a couple of scoring chances.
Do you see any difference in the way the Islanders approach these playoffs as champions compared to last year?
Well, we know what it takes now to win the Cup. We know that we have to work hard every time we're out there, and we can't fool ourselves anymore. We've been through enough in the past 4 years that I've been here to know that if we're not working hard, we're not going to get anywhere, and we don't want that to happen. If someone's going to beat us, we want them to play better than us and not have ourselves beat us.
The last time we spoke was just after the 50th goal in the 50th game. Looking back on that, obviously a great memory that you'll have forever. At this point, was that good for you this season? in terms of the way you're playing now, or might it have, you know, created some problems somewhere?
Well, you know, when I look back on it now after the first 2 games in the playoff, I'm sort of happy of what happened because, you know, during January and early February, everyone seems to get into a lull because of the schedule. And I had to keep on going during the month of December and January with going for that record. That made me drive harder. And I never really fell into that slump until about 3 weeks before the season. And you know, it was a big mental strain for me going for that record, and you know, everything about my game was off in the last 3 weeks, and you know, I was resting a lot, and you know, I wasn't playing the way I like to play, but when I look back on it now, I'm glad that I got it all out of my system.
I wonder if it helped Wayne Gretzky to almost come out of nowhere, with a lot of people earlier in the season looking at you and Charlie Simmer, and then suddenly with about 3 weeks to go in the season, people said, hey, there are other records that could be broken this season, and this guy is starting to sneak up.
Well, he's a heck of a hockey player. I think everyone knows that, and you know, it's a credit to himself for him to go out there and do what he does. You know, I just talking about it, I heard everyone say that Lafleur was going to put him in his pocket yesterday. It sure looks like it took him a little while to do it, and I think that, you know, Gretzky's a heck of a hockey player, and if you let him play his game, he's going to make a fool out of a lot of people.
Not to suggest that you're looking beyond this series, but what are your thoughts on Edmonton winning the first game and leading the second?
Well, that's something. You know, I never expect anybody to go into Montreal's building, no matter who it is, and beat them, especially in a short series like that. But you know, I think it'll be a heck of a surprise. I don't think anybody really thinks right now that Edmonton can pull that off, but they're winning again tonight, and you know, if they win, they're sure going to be a tough team to beat.
The Islanders wouldn't mind if Montreal lost?
No, we wouldn't mind if all the top 10 teams lost.
Thank you, Mike. Tremendous start, obviously. It goes without saying in these playoffs. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in just a moment. Islanders 3 scoring all goals in the second period, and the Maple Leafs nothing. Ken Morrow, defenseman of the Islanders, was in the unique position last season of winning a gold medal at the Olympics and also winning the Stanley Cup. Ken Morrow of the New York Islanders. Let's now find out more about this defenseman who plays, as they say, steadily.
The house we finally settled on here was on the north shore of Long Island. It's a small town, Northport, and it's just the type of town that you've always kind of thought about in the back of your mind.
Ken Morrow, a bearded man of 6 feet 4 inches, soft-spoken and gentle, lives a quiet life here with his wife Barbara and dog Dea. At an age of 24 years, Ken has accomplished a unique hockey achievement. In 1 year, he won an Olympic gold medal and was a member of a Stanley Cup championship team. However, Ken's hopes, dreams, and goals are just beginning.
I just try and set a goal for myself, a short distance goal. I don't try and set any goal that's going to last 5 or 10 years. I'm trying to take it year by year right now and just want to stay a regular on a team and hopefully help the team out. We practice on the days that we aren't playing, and the Islander practices are usually held at Caniac Park, which is in Hicksville on Long Island. It takes about a 30-minute drive to practice from my house, and the practices are usually an hour to an hour and 15 minutes long. And then we will do some off-ice work for our upper bodies or our knees using side deck machine.
In the early days, like thousands of hockey families, Ken's father used to drive him daily from their home in Flint, Michigan to Detroit to play and practice for the Junior Red Wings. Now, like all professional athletes, Ken must train hard.
All right, you ready, Kenny? Go. Come on, kick. That's it, Kenny. Kick. Boy. Come on, up and down. Hold out, hold out. Breathe deep, sit back. Come on. Keep going.
Ken says he's basically a lazy person and usually after a hard workout likes to get away from hockey to spend some time at home. However, Ken has grown accustomed to the life of a hockey player.
You really do. Your whole life is tied up around hockey, so there's really no way you can get away from it. As hard as you try, it's hard. And when you do think you're kind of getting away from it, somebody will mention something that will bring it right back up. You know, somebody will come up about the Olympics or the Stanley Cup. So, you know, it's something that's part of your life. You know, every minute of every day. And, you know, Barb's had to come to understand that now. And
I miss him all the time. I just don't like to be by myself, and I get lonely. Yeah, it does bother me, but mostly I do ceramics. Other than that, you know, there's not too much. They're here one day and gone the next day. With the dog, it really helps, though.
It was just an incredible year. Everything that I did went right for me. The timing was perfect. We played in the Olympics in February. We won the gold medal on February 24th. I was overcome with joy, really. I mean, I really can't tell you what I was thinking at the moment that picture was taken, because once that buzzer went off, I think I was in another world kind of for the next couple hours. I don't think anybody really knew what we were doing. We didn't know how to express our emotions. Guys were throwing their sticks, throwing their gloves everywhere. It was just a great feeling. And then my first game with the Islanders was March 1st. And just after that, we started on a winning streak, which went up to the end of the season. And then we started into the playoffs, and we ended up winning the Stanley Cup. The two achievements last year, the gold medal and the Stanley Cup, you know, that'll probably be the highlight of my life, really, you know, sports-wise. But I hate to think that you know, that was my greatest year. I mean, if I look back and say, well, my greatest year was last year, so what do I have to look forward to? Not much. I'm not going to do that. I'm, you know, going to keep setting my goals as I go along, and hopefully I'll achieve every one.
Ken Morrow's still officially a rookie in the National Hockey League, and that's not bad. In his rookie season, he has already played on a Stanley Cup team, and he would like to make it 2 in a row, as would all his Islander teammates. We'll return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
Well, we're back here at the Nassau Coliseum, and the score is Islanders 3 and the Maple Leafs nothing. And now we'll have a look at the summary of that second period. It all started with Bossy at 7:39, Trottier at 8:18, and Trottier again at 19:16. Shots on goal were Islanders 11, Toronto 7.
Saturday night will be game 3. Buffalo will be at Vancouver. That will be shown at the Atlantic Provinces, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia. For you viewers in Ontario, the Islanders will be at Maple Leaf Gardens. An interesting statistic here, Chico Resch. For one thing, the Islanders have had 16 shots. Bossy and Trottier have had 7 of them, 8 of them, so that tells you a lot. We'll look at the scoreboard again. Edmonton still ahead of Montreal. That's now in the third period. Buffalo. Lindy Ruff has scored that 5th goal. That game seems to be well in hand. And the Flyers ahead 5-3. Jacques Richard has narrowed that one. Bobby McMillan giving the Calgary Flames that 1-0 lead in the first period. And Minnesota North Stars. That game is now in the third period. Seem on the way to victory. St. Louis Blues on a goal by Micheletti lead the Penguins 1-0. And the game out in the coast hasn't started as of yet. Chico, and also Bossy has 3 goals. Trottier has 4 goals. I mean, the Leafs have to do something about those 2 guys.
Well, I think a good example is tonight, Gary. Let's face it. You take those 2 guys away, even just take that 1 shift away when those 2 guys kind of went wild. I mean, it's a 0-0 game, and the Leafs are controlling it. That's just been the whole key. And I just think, Mike, maybe he will when he gets home. I still think, I know you've got Bossy and you've got Bourne and you've got other talent, but I think you still try and stop Trottier because he's still the key there. And I think it's just, you know, those statistics prove that out.
Well, it's very interesting. Both the guys had good regular season performance, and what's to stop them from having a playoff performance? I mean, if they had a good season, no reason to not keep going in the playoffs, and that's why you have to pay special attention to those guys.
Play underway now as the Islanders bring it up. Gillies missed it. Carroll's got it. Carroll of the Islanders gets over the red line, shoots the puck in. It ends up back of the net. The Rock a little slow in clearing it, and they get a whistle against the boards. So you have Carroll at center with Gillies.
Look at Clark Gillies. Him and Barry Melrose have really gone after each other tonight, and I got to give Barry Melrose a lot of credit. He stuck his nose in there every time Clark's come down that wing in front of the net. He's been fighting them, and they've had a little duel going all night.
It comes back to Gillies. Gillies took a shot, and he just missed. It goes to Dan Maloney. Maloney out to Derligo. A long shot. That's off the glass. Gillies took his man out. The puck comes out to Carroll. Carroll is checked. Dan Maloney shot it in offside.
Well, being down 3 goals, you certainly expect the Leafs to really pour it on, and you can't hold up now. You know, try to keep the score down, do some good job forechecking, and get some shots on net.
I think the Leafs could maybe dump it in a little bit. The Islanders are coming back. They're standing up. Put a little pressure on the Islander defense. Let's see how they react.
It's important, though, when you dump it in, that those forwards are going at full tilt. Then they can cause the Islanders a lot of trouble back there.
Lauren Henning with Nystrom and Howlett. Lorimer brings the puck up for the Islanders. Number 4, he was checked. Now McEwen, number 16, shoots it wide. Top the boards. Melrose was checked. 5 hit the side of the net. Clear to the blue line, but not out. McEwen kept it in. Melrose was stopped by Henning. Henning goes to the boards with Melrose, and they get a whistle.
You know, when you're missing the likes of a Tonelli and a Keller from your lineup, both guys can score goals and play very effectively, and all of a sudden you move in a Marini and a Carroll and do a job. That tells you something of the balance that the Islanders have.
That's right, and the key really last year in the playoffs was Dwayne Sutter, and we haven't even seen him yet. He's been out with an injury, and let's face it, any terrific team has terrific bench strength, and that's what the Islanders have.
Well, here's the threesome out here. Trottier, Bossy, and Bourne. It goes into the corners. Salming cleared it out. Dennis Papin hit Bourne on the skate. It goes sliding back down into Islander territory. New York Islanders leading by a score of 3-0, and we're in the 3rd period. Mike Bossy just content to shoot the puck in. Barak stopped it there. Came out in front. Anderson, a pass for Zanuzzi too far. And Dennis Papin just shoots it down the ice. That's over the red line. It'll be touched by Juris, and that's icing.
Juris, one of the defense that has felt the brunt of the Islanders forechecking, playing in his first Stanley Cup series, and I wonder what his impressions will be after this year is over.
You think he'll be able to go back and tell his friends?
Yeah.
Darryl Sittler, number 27.
Bill, the Mike Nicolak has still remained with that unit. Sittler, Anderson, and Zanuzzi, taking Sittler away from Paymont and Martin.
Okay, Gary, and the puck's out in front. Over around to the far side. Bossy slips it out to Trottier. Going down with Bourne. Pass to Bourne, he shoots. And the Rock just got a piece of it. Now Salming. He's stopped. The puck goes to Trottier. There's a drive by Bossy. Bossy gets it into the other corner. Trottier to Bossy. Centered it for Dennis Papin, and the Leafs have the puck. Zanussi getting it into Anderson. Anderson takes a shot, hit the goalpost. Play is called, and there's going to be an interference penalty. John Anderson, Gary Dornhofer, and Chico West, they right off the post.
Breaks continue to go against the Leafs. Here again, a nice play by John Anderson, and any kind of break, and they would be back in this hockey game.
From the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, this is Stanley Cup 81. Back live here at Nassau Coliseum. Puck goes to Robert, at least with a man advantage. There's a shot by Turnbull, way down, another try. And DeLego had the open net, and he couldn't put it in. Long shot by Carroll. Rock made the save on that. Maloney coming to center ice. Carroll goes after him and checks him. Now the Leafs have to regroup again. Robert. Pass over to Vive. Number 22 to Turnbull, number 2. Turnbull now over the line. Leafs trailing by 3 and have a man advantage. Puck is cleared right to Carroll, and Carroll gets it out. Play is called, and we're going to have a penalty here, and it's going to Vive.
Well, that'll take care of the power play for the Leafs, but Ricky Vive retaliating, a slashing penalty.
Against Davy Langevin, who, if you remember, they were mixing it up behind the net. And it was a good hit by Davy that time, but Rick a little frustrated.
You know, a lot of times a shot that looks to be very harmless will fool a goaltender. Watch this one.
Well, see there, now the forward, Anderson is moving across the ice. He's not trying to come straight in on the goalie, and Wayne Gretzky does that better than anyone. He wants to move in a lateral position across the goal rather than straight at it, and that changes the whole complexion of the shot.
And here the Leafs again with an open net and just can't connect. It's been that kind of a series. Ricky Vive and then DeLego. I mean, you can't get a better position. Hits the side of the net.
Tough break.
Over the line for Martin. Martin of the Leafs back to Borja Salming. Salming over for Juris. The Islanders can't get it out. Juris trying to get his shot away. Here comes Salming into a maze, and that was high. Cleared out. The Islanders flip it out, and here's a race for the puck. Gary Howitt over the line. Howitt stops. Goes back to McEwen, a shot, and Larocque stopped that. Martin coming to center ice for the Leafs. For Paymo. Paymo stops. Paymo has it on the line, and he was checked, and Lorimer brings it out. Lorimer over the line. Lorimer trying to go in right in front of the net to the shot, and Howard missed the rebound. McEwen, there's the shot. Larocque stopped that. Salming back to the net. Islanders changing on the go. 15:43 in the third period. 3-0 Islanders. Shot was wide. Comes out in front. Smith sprawls out and covers up.
Bobby Bourne's penalty is over. You know, balance is such an important ingredient for a goaltender. How do you keep your balance?
I don't always, Gary.
You don't always.
Mentally or physically.
Well, they're having a shootout in Boston. Cicerelli and Maxwell in the third period. Crowder has 2 goals, 8-6. No, but is there something that you can do to, you know, just keep that balance for a goaltender, the way you position your pads or the crouch that you're in?
Sure, but a lot of hard work. Ballet lessons.
Down the ice for Bossy. A shot. Oh, and that was just wide. Puck is stolen by Trottier. Trottier goes back. There's a screenshot. That was knocked down. And Laurie Boschman brings it out to center ice. Trying to go around Langevin. And it's Bobby Bourne getting it over to Wayne. Over the line, and Bossy was knocked down. That's going down the ice. There'll be no icing. Dennis Puckvan up to Bossy. Bossy goes to the far side. And that is offside. Clark Gillies on this left wing.
Rick Vive, 1 second left to go in his penalty. Ballet lessons?
Well, I've heard of that, but really, Gary, the secret is to fight. For young goalies, there's a natural tendency to want to go down on the ice. And so what a young goalie has to do, or a coach teaching a young boy, is to teach him to play the game on his feet. So it's like from when you're young, it's just automatic to stay on those feet and think balance rather than think sprawl, think going down on your knees. And it's just a lot of self-discipline because, again, the natural tendency is to go down on the ice.
Thank you. That's the answer I was looking for. Mike Nikolak must be concerned at this stage. The Leafs have tried, but that explosive power of the Islanders is again very evident.
And the Islanders have the man advantage for just 1 second. 14:49 now to go in the third period. Islanders 3, the Maple Leafs nothing. Puck is shot down the ice over the red line, and that is icing.
Would you say it's a goaltender's responsibility to be the real hauler guy out there? I mean, he can see the guys that are chasing his defensemen. Do you alert them that somebody's on them and things like that? Is there a lot of communication?
There should be. The thing is, especially in a game like Smitty's played where he hasn't had a lot of work, that is really one of his responsibilities. And same thing with Bunny, although a lot of times you're so involved in the play you don't have a chance to yell, and I'm sure Bunny's ran into that tonight.
Back of the net for Milrose. Gets it over Turnbull. Got it up to center ice. Broken up by Lorimer. And to McEwen. McEwen rushing to center ice. He gets over the line. Tries a pass right in front, and it hopped over the stick of number 29, Hector Marini. Now the Islanders shoot it right back in again. This time after it is Carroll. Carroll to Marini. Marini goes back to McEwen. There's a shot. That was knocked down in front. And the Leafs come back. Settlebauer. A pass over to René Robert. Robert takes his shot right over to Settlebauer. Another whack at it. He scores! And it's 3-1.
Was that Boudreau that scored the goal? Did not play last night. Back in the lineup and scores his first playoff goal. But the Leafs, watch Robert now, gets possession. Nobody challenges him, so he has a lot of time to make a play. The fan shot it in. Boudreau left unprotected, keeps whacking away at it. And again, it looks like an Islander put the puck in his own net, McEwen.
Definitely, Mike McEwen here, actually inadvertently trying to clear it. You'll see him actually put the puck through, and it's finally a break for the Leafs. Hopefully for them, it's going to spark them. Here he's trying to play it right through Smitty's legs into the goal.
Smith clears the puck off to the side as the Leafs move up again. Now the Islanders unable to get out. Jan. It goes to
the assist to number 18.
Wayne Merrick and shot it down the ice.
14, René Robert. Time of the goal, 6:06.
Boudreau gets credit for the goal. Leafs come back again.
6:06.
And that shot was blocked. Islanders now get it out to center ice. Harry Howard shot it over for Nystrom on the right side. Nystrom has it in the corner. Nystrom tried to center it. He did to Potvin. Potvin shot hit 5. Morrow to Potvin, who shoots it right back in again. 13 minutes remaining in the third period. 3-1 the score. Favor the Islanders. Alzevin shot it back into Leaf territory. Melrose shoots it out. And Anderson offside at the blue line. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. Back live at the Nassau Coliseum. Henning at center. Trache is playing on the left wing and Bossy on the right. 3-1 the score in favor of the Islanders. A pass up to Trache. Trache nearly put Bossy into the clear. Bossy then goes to Trache. Trache's pass for Henning went over his stick. Ian Turnbull. Then that was stopped by Bossy. Bossy was down on the ice. Puck came out. Shot back in again offside.
I had a laugh at Lauren Henning. We were talking the other day. We should look at Mike Bossy. He played the last game of the season with Trache and Bossy, and he said, here I turned a high-scoring unit into a checking line.
Yeah, and I think Brian was so nice he even let Lorne play his position at center. And I guess they were laughing so hard watching Lauren that they couldn't handle the puck. Lauren hadn't played in about a month and a half.
But he's been very valuable to his hockey club as an assistant coach, sending down information between periods.
Juris with a shot. That's going to go up into the crowd, and we'll get a whistle.
Gary, Lauren's one of those players that doesn't have to play a lot to be in shape, and that's kind of what he does. He plays a lot of tennis, and he can sit out for a month and a half and still look good.
Well, it was a high-scoring affair. Timmy Young scored the final goal, and so the North Stars, something they haven't been able to do since their National Hockey League debut, have finally won, and twice, back-to-back games in Boston Garden.
Langevin leaves it for Henning. Henning around on the boards. Knocked down in front. Pearson couldn't get it out. Langevin will try it again. He's knocked over. Sittler goes after it. He's checked. Trache trying to get it out. Kept in by the Leafs, and Sittler was knocked down hard. Puck goes around to Bossy. That's stopped. The shot, and that rolled over top of the net, off the glove of Billy Smith. Now then Henning into the corner. Pearson for Bossy, and the Leafs keep that puck in there. Finally, it goes to Trache. Trache rams it down the ice, and that's icing.
A good example of what good forechecking will do. It doesn't matter who the defensemen are out there.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. Well, we're back here at the Nassau Coliseum as we get ready for this face-off.
Bill, another tough break for the Leafs there. A deflection hit Billy Smith and hit the top of the net by Zanuzzi.
Comes back to Melrose. His shot. He gets another try. He was taken out of the play. Marini couldn't get it out. There's a shot by Turnbull. It's right in front of the net. Another shot. And they pile up and hold it out. But the Leafs are doing everything. Let's get back into this game.
You have to admire the Leafs' spunk. They've certainly come out in the third period and putting on some pressure.
That's right, Gary. Here we're going to see the shot from the point. This is Smitty makes one save, and there again, the Leaf player wasn't able to get the puck up, but they're getting their chances, and they're really taking over, and there's 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes left. So this is really, I think, the best the Leafs have looked in the whole series. It's encouraging.
Forcing the opposition into mistakes. You do that strong forechecking, and all you can do is fire that puck along the boards, and that's when your defensemen play such a big part, to be able to pinch in and intercept those passes.
Ready to go for the face-off. Paymal wins the draw, gets it to Melrose. There's the shot. Smith stopped that. The rebound is cleared by the Islanders down the ice. There's a race for it. Merrick goes after it. The rock goes to Ian Turnbull. Turnbull lost it. There's right in front. Oh, the rock stopped that. There's it. It scores! McEwen.
What a bad break. What a bad break for Bunny and the Leafs.
Well, again, it was that time a giveaway by Turnbull. Watch him in his own zone. Loses the puck, but what a save here.
Oh, great save by Bunny here.
And then again, the Leafs had possession of the puck there, didn't they?
Yeah, and they threw it back to the point. Unfortunately, Barry Melrose trying to clear it. Didn't get good wood on it. Just laid it up there for Mike McEwen, and he really teed off on it. As you saw, Bunny was just recovering. And boy, what a bad break.
But, you know, it was bad enough that the Leafs made a miscue the first time, but then when they coughed it up a second time, the Islanders were able to get possession of that puck with McEwen.
Well, there's a save that could turn the game around if they come out of this. But again, there's a second mistake, and
well,
you know,
a good example, Chico, what you were talking about when you make a save and you're flat on your back. You know, he was trying desperately, Larocque, to get back on his feet, didn't quite make it. McEwen from his point position, and that's another area that, you know, the winger has to, you know, make contact with McEwen there and can't let him get that shot away. But he let it fly. Boy, did he have wood on that one.
Islanders 4, the Maple Leafs 1. Puck out at center ice. Carroll going down over the line with Gillies. Trying to kick it loose up along the boards, and they get a whistle.
Well, the Leafs now are really going to have to try and hang in here. They were really coming on at 2 or 3 good chances. Actually, for a 2-minute period there, the Islanders couldn't get out of their end. They were running around and really reeling. And then again, just an example of coming down once and scoring a goal and changing the whole complexion of the game.
Salming, a pass to Boudreau. Boudreau's pass for Settlebauer. He was hit by Potvin. Carroll with Gillies. Gillies trying to bull his way through. He's knocked down. That goes to Juris. Juris, a pass ahead, and it's Robert, number 14, over the line. Robert tries a pass, and Potvin intercepts, shooting it down. Larocque over to Salming. Salming coming to center ice. Over the line. Salming takes a weak shot, and Boudreau in order to get in behind the Island defense. But the Islanders bring it back out again. That's Bourne to Trottier. Trottier in for Bossy. Roll right in front of the net. And Larocque comes out, covers up.
Hi, I'm Bob Nystrom of the New York Islanders, asking all you Ontario viewers to join us for game number 3 of the Toronto Maple Leafs New York Islanders series. For the people in BC, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and the Maritimes, you'll be enjoying game number 3 of the Buffalo Sabres against the Vancouver Canucks. Join us.
Well, we're back live as the puck goes into the corner in Leaf territory. Back of the net for Turnbull. Turnbull for Vive. He couldn't get anywhere. Bourne to Persson to Bossy. Goes back as the Islanders regroup. Now it's Trottier over the line. Trottier stick handles right through. Goes in back of the net. 2 beautiful moves by Ryan Trottier. 8:54 remaining in the 3rd period. It goes to the corner. Bossy against the boards. It's tipped out to center ice. Picked off there by Juris. Juris takes a shot. Smith was almost knocked down. He didn't see it till the last second. Now then, Gary Howard. He's over the line. He shot it in for Merrick. Merrick gets the puck loose. Nystrom is out in front. Here it's back to Lorimer. He shot it high. Merrick again with it. Nystrom. Back it comes to McEwen. There's a shot wide. Howard goes into the corner to get it. Gary Howard being watched by Anderson. They fall together. It comes out. And Zanussi cleared it over the line, and the Islanders just clear it out again, and it's offside. With the score, it's the Islanders 4, Toronto 1. This is Stanley Cup 81. There you see the score. Islanders 4, Toronto 1, 3rd period. 7:59 remaining. A shot wide of the net. Howard elects to get it out to center ice to Wayne Merrick. Merrick going down with Nystrom. They're closing in together right in front, and Nystrom's backhand went over top of the net. Back for Sittler. A pass too far for Zanussi. And Zanussi stole the puck. Gets his shot. And that was stopped by Smith. On a giveaway by McEwen. Lorimer to McEwen. McEwen ahead to Merrick. Merrick's long shot off the boards. Nystrom went after it. Leafs come up with it. And Juris feeds it out to center ice. That's Salming, not able to get anywhere. It's over the line, and it's going to be icing call against the Islanders.
You know, I thought particularly you made a real good point before about the Leafs defense. Whenever Trottier's line is out there, you can't get fancy. You know, hang on to it and dump it out. But, you know, you try those rink-wide passes, little drop pass. You can't do that against Trottier's line.
No, and that one shift they had where there were 2 defensive mistakes turned the whole game around. And that's the type of line they are. You can keep them off the scoreboard. you know, for a period and a half. But when they're out there, keep it basic. Just keep the puck away from them. Don't get yourself into trouble with those guys out there.
Puck rolls down into Leaf territory. It's Ian Turnbull. Turnbull nearly gave it away again. Puck into the corner. Up to the blue line. Gillies trapped that. Carroll tried to center it. Gillies goes after the puck. Carroll's against the boards, and the Leafs with Paymal getting it ahead. Laurie Boschman, too well covered by Dennis Patvin. Morrow to Gillies. Out to center ice. Carroll going down. They go to the boards. Fighting for it. Marini. And they get a whistle with 6:24. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in a moment. And there you see Bruce Boudreau, who scored the only goal for the Maple Leafs. Islanders a 4-1 lead. The shot right on. Bluff save, bang, score! Trottier, Brian Trottier, and that's the hat trick.
It sure is. And from the face-off, the importance of those draws. Let's watch Trottier, one of the best. But you notice Trottier goes right for the net. Nobody picks him up and stuffs home the rebound.
Mike Bossy helps out here on the face-off. The puck's in the feet. Mike here takes the shot. A good save by Bunny again. And Brian, as you say, I don't know. I think Juris moved up to help the centerman, Boudreau, after the puck was bouncing around, and he was Brian's responsibility. But Brian has that nose for the net.
Well, there are all the hats on the ice. That's signifying a hat trick for Brian Trottier. But you see two Leaf players skate past Bossy, fishing for the puck, rather than really taking him, trying to knock him down. And Bossy able to gain control. Trottier on the rebound, and that's certainly been the story of this, not only the first game, but also this game. Trottier and Bossy, the Leafs have not been able to shut those guys down. On the other hand, the Islanders, the top two Leaf scorers, and Paymont and Sittler have still not scored a goal.
When the Leafs beat us a couple of years ago, it was just that. I don't know. I know Boudreau had a lot to do with stopping Brian, and that's what they did best. And they get home Saturday night. That is what they're going to have to key on.
A pass for Bourne. And to Bossy. Juris off the glass. Bourne knocked it in back of the net. Goes to the blue line. Out to center ice. Islanders shoot it right back over Bossy. Trottier goes after the puck. Goes along the boards. Over to Settlebauer. Back to Juris. Juris takes his shot, and that was wide. Rebound coming to Melrose. Melrose shot, and Trottier's got a breakaway. He's going in alone, all the way. Shoots! Oh, and Bunny Larocque beat him as Trottier was in alone. It's over the line for Settlebauer, and his shot was wide. Came out in front. Gary Howlett for Nystrom. Intercepted by Shad. He handed it to Lorimer. Lorimer to Nystrom. Nystrom tried to cut in front of the defense. Played around back of the net. Leafs have it in the corner. And Howard is there. Howard goes to McEwen, a shot, and he just missed. Settlebauer from the other wing. A shot up here for Bive. Bive's over the line with Derlego. That's broken up, and the Islanders take over Lorimer. Over to Nystrom. Nystrom flips the puck down the ice. There's a race for it. Gary Howard and Bunny. And Howard went over the top of Bunny Larocque. Live from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
You see Bunny Larocque sprawled on the ice. Trainer out there having a look at him, but there's quite a collision with Gary Howard and Larocque both racing for the puck.
You'll see Gary here now. Try and jump over. Watch his toes of his skate is going to catch oh, excuse me, it was his knee. And you'll see right in the kidney region where, of course, the chest protector covers the front and a little bit of the side, but nothing in the back. And that's something that you really don't know about till later, because if he's hit that kidney area, you know, it's something that'll show up later, but that's gotta hurt. He's really had a fine game tonight. He's made some outstanding saves. Just stopped Brian Trottier on a breakaway, and he's leaving, and I think that's the best thing, because you gotta watch that real close, Gary. Something like that's an internal injury.
Well, we've got another report from the Forum in Montreal where the Oilers are trying to make history. Let's hear from Danny Gallivan.
Now playing goal for
The Edmontonians, Risebrough, Schutt, and Napier. Robinson couldn't get anywhere on the right wing. Now here's Curry, got to get right, going right in the goal. Shoot, scores! And the Oilers lead 3-1.
A young, pesky Oiler hockey club, Yari Curry, again from Gretzky and Callaghan. That's a 3-1 score now in Montreal, and that Oiler team may surprise a lot of the experts.
The interesting thing is the players were talking. I know the fans were probably wondering too. You know they can score. They've got Gretzky. They got Curry. They got a defense core that really likes to charge the other team's net. But could they play defense, especially in the Montreal Forum? Well, they've just proven that. So if they can play that type of defense in Montreal, they're going to be heard from.
New goaltender, Iri Sirha. Well, now we just want to take you to a Montreal Forum and have a report.
Anderson shoots it, it's going, and it is wide. Gretzky is down there, cleared it behind the net. Just 20 seconds remaining. 3-1 for Edmonton. Haney shooting it in. Bombert trying to get it. Vogelin along the board. Here's Acton, tied up by Anderson. Anderson comes in to get it. Gives it to Gretzky, he shoots, and he missed on the other side. That's going to be the hockey game. And the Edmonton Oilers fashion 2 brilliant victories here in Montreal. And we welcome the rest of the network. And there you see a very happy Glenn Sather. What a job he has done in the preparation, mentally and physically, of his hockey team. That happy hockey team you see down there in the south end of the Montreal Forum, as a dejected group of Canadians go to their dressing room on the far side. There was no question about it. Edmonton, the better team in both games, and they won both games in rather decisive fashion. Although tonight, they had to get that great goaltending, and the young fellow, Andy Moog, was outstanding.
Well, a good hand here, Danny, from the fans at the Forum for the Oilers. 2 tremendous hockey games they played here. Anybody that can come into Montreal and beat the Canadians 2 games like they have decisively, and young Andy Moog, just tremendous effort. I don't know if he's going to be the first star of tonight's game, but he probably should be. He's got to be a happy youngster. He was jumping up and down when the bell was ringing, and just a tremendous effort by this hockey club, and what an advantage going home now with 2 up on the Canadians.
So the Edmonton Oilers have defeated the Montreal Canadiens by a score of 3-1, and we're back here with 3:35 left to go. Islanders ahead 5-1.
Okay, Gary, and a puck is back of the net in Islander territory. Shot out on the left wing. Carroll losing to Zanussi. Anderson couldn't get anywhere. Carroll over to Marini. Shot out to center ice. Carroll again. Tried to get Marini loose on the right wing. Now then Dennis Potvin shoots the puck in. Goes to the corner, right across the goal mouth. Zanussi shooting it down, and Dennis Potvin.
What's up, Denny?
Right on Zanussi's stick, but moving in there to try and get it loose. And they can't. It's against the boards for a faceoff.
It's been one of those nights again for the Leafs. They played such a solid first period. And the explosiveness of the Islanders, but again, Trottier and Bossé doing all the damage, and I'm sure Coach Mike Nicoluk will have a few tricks up his sleeve. I'm sure he's thinking about how do you stop those two guys.
Salming drives the puck in wide of the net. Stephen Pearson, number 7. Ahead to Bob Bourne. Bourne going down the ice. A quick pass. Bossy moves in. Bossy goes back to the net. Bossy's trying to get it in front. Oh, and he passed it down the ice. Pearson goes after it. Chopped at it. There's going to be a penalty here.
Stephen Pearson for slashing. 2 minutes left. It may not mean much, but it is important that maybe Toronto can get their power play going a little bit here. You talk about chopping wood here, and that isn't the slash though. Now you're going to see it here if they keep it going. He's going to turn around and went one way with a stick and then the other. Oh boy! Oh, that was a pretty obvious call.
Yeah, I don't think Pearson can argue about that one.
Oh, he didn't get him one way, he was going to get him the other.
But the officiating in both of these games have been of the excellent variety. I don't think either team can complain about the officiating. So the Leafs, with 2:08 left, will have a power play.
Larimer has the puck for the Islanders. He shoots it down the ice. Yuri Serha to Turnbull. Comes back up to Daryl Sittler. Sittler's over the line. Onto the left side. Settlebauer is shot. And Sittler couldn't convert it. Now here's a break. And going down at center ice was Carroll. He was dumped. Islanders are asking Gary for a penalty shot.
Well, Lauren Henning went right over to Dave Newell and said, I think there should have been a penalty shot on that play. I wouldn't mind seeing one right about now.
No, I don't think Serha would agree with you, Yuri, but here's Smitty. Now, this is what I talked about. He covers the ice low. He goes down a lot. You've got to get the puck up on him. Here, Lorne flips it out, and it goes through everybody here. It's bouncing. A settled Rod tries to get it, and then he's got to trip him. It's a good penalty, and it could have been a
yeah, that was a good penalty by Settlebauer. But again, the Leafs with a chance just can't get the puck over a sprawled Smith, and that's something that they certainly have to think about and do.
Carroll shoots the puck down into Leaf territory. Melrose, number 26, clears it, but not out. It went to Larimer, rolling over his stick. He goes back into his own zone. Back to McEwen. Pass over to McEwen again. McEwen coming up through center. Over the line. Takes his shot, and he shot it wide.
Last minute of play in the period. Final minute.
We're into the final minute of the third period. Henning has the puck, and he couldn't get a shot. Taymon coming back for the Leafs. 5-1. Islanders lead. Dennis Potvin breaks it up. Going up with Merrick. Merrick takes the pass. He's trying to cut in. Does. Went too far. Serha made the save. And it goes to Melrose. Melrose with 33 seconds. It comes out to center ice. Zanussi over the line. Checked by Dennis Potvin. 26 seconds. Morrow coming to center ice. He flips it in. Goes to Borja Salming. Salming is hit. Again, it's Nystrom covering, and Boschman comes back. Boschman with 11 seconds. And counting. Over here on the wing for Pearson. 1 second. The horn goes. The game is over. Islanders have defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs for the second night in a row by a score of 5-1.
Now back to the drawing board for the Maple Leafs. Tomorrow will be a travel day. Have a chance to have a practice, work on some things, and try to get the rock back together again.
And Mike Nichols will have the last change, which is really going to be important. We've talked about it all in both games, but Mike has to come up with some way that he can stymie Mike Bossy and Brian Trottier a little bit. So that's something they really got to concentrate on.
But I know that it has to be very disappointing for the Leafs. They had their scoring chances, just not able to connect and deposit that puck in the net.
This is Stanley Cup 81 from the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
Again, the final score tonight, the New York Islanders 5, the Toronto Maple Leafs 1. And as in game one, the dominating players for the Islanders again were Trottier and Bossy. And the first star, it was Brian Trottier with a hat trick.
Good choice. He's just been really fired up. Not only the scoring, but he's been taking the body, been consistent throughout, and been the star both nights. And by quite a margin, I think. He's just been a real leader out there.
And of course, Mike Bossy, who with that goal total that he had this season, he said he was in a little slump near the latter part of the year, but in games 1 and 2, he has come to life.
Well, Mike really looks enthused, and that's bad news for the Leafs. When he gets going, I really don't know how you can stop him. And it's one area I know that the Leafs are really concerned about, and he deserved the second star, and then what a 1-2 punch those two guys have been.
And another guy that has done a tremendous job of checking, and you need that on your hockey club. Tonight, it's Wayne Merrick.
Right, Gary, and it was obvious right from the beginning, even though Mike Nicolak changed Daryl's line, he moved the wingers off there, Al still went with Wayne Merrick keying on Daryl Sittler. So you could see that Al Arbor was saying, Daryl Sittler's the key, Wayne Merrick, it's your job to cover him, and he did that very well tonight. Well,
Nicolak did change lines. He moved Sittler away from Paymon and Martin. It didn't help. Sittler has yet to pick up a point. Wilf Paymon hasn't got a goal. The Leafs need scoring from those two guys. They provided it all during the regular season. They have to start doing it during the playoffs.
Well, they do, and I mean, they could use a break or two. I know you know what scoring's like. When things start bouncing for you, you become more confident. You make things happen. You drive for the net. A good example at 0-0. Leafs have a 3-on-1, a 2-on-1 back-to-back. They don't even get a shot on goal. Things just aren't fluid out there for them, and they seem to be fighting the puck a little bit.
Well, the Leafs will certainly have one day to think about it before they start Saturday night. And let's go now to Dave Hodge, and he has Wayne Merrick with him.
Trottier and Bossy have been largely responsible for 14 Islander goals in 2 games, but the Leafs have scored only 3 times. Sittler, Martin, Paymon without a point, and here's the man who's been checking Daryl Sittler, Wayne Merrick. The headlines are going to the other guys, but I know that you're very satisfied with the job you've done.
Well, thanks very much, Dave. I'm really happy with the way the team's playing right now, and I know Al wants me to do the checking role out there, so I'm working hard at it. And Daryl and Paymont are good players, and they're hard to check, and we're doing pretty good so far. I just hope we can keep doing it.
Well, the idea last night was to shut them down, and you did totally nullify them tonight. Nicolak started to juggle his lines, and I'm sure that that's exactly what Arbor had in mind. If that's Nicolak's move, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think that he's trying to do something like that. I'm sure he wants to get the big line going, and we're not doing anything different. We're just trying to play good position against them. And I know that Daryl especially scores a lot of goals from the hash marks at the center ice in the corner. So you have to watch him out there. He's got a great shot, and I'm concentrating on good position, especially in our end, and making sure that I take the body.
Now the Leafs go home where they have not played well, and you go there, and the Islanders have played well on the road everywhere, the best road team in the NHL. I wonder if there's a reason why some teams are better on the road than others. Talent, yes, but is there some kind of a special feeling when you get away that you don't let any crowds bother you, that you're prepared in a certain way that helps you win away from home?
Well, I know we have a really good record this year on the road, and I don't know whether it's the pressure that we have here at home or what it is. I know the guys really come up big, and they play a little looser on the road. And I know myself, I'm a little tighter at home playing here amongst our fans and in front of our fans. And you know, I just think that's probably the main reason. It's just we're a little looser, and we seem to handle the puck a bit more when we're on the road and take a few more chances, and therefore we get a few more goals, and it just works out really well for us.
Amongst the fans, it must seem like that sometimes. They make a lot of noise, and they do surround you.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially against the Rangers, that's a really interesting game, I'll tell you.
Wayne, would you think that Al Arbor's the sort of coach, if Nicolak tries everything he can do, and of course he can do more at home, to get Sittler away from you, that you'll be jumping on and off the bench at times trying to stay with him, or would Al go to some other plan?
Well, I'm sure they get last change at home, so they'll probably concentrate on playing Sittler maybe against Trotz or somebody else. I'm really not sure what his strategy is going to be. getting back to the question you were asking before, I'm a little bit scary about going back to Toronto because I remember, I think it was 2 years ago we played against Toronto, or 3 years ago, and we got beat out. We had a great year and we got beat out in the first round. So we're going back and we know what we're up against. They're a great hockey team. I really think they are. And they play really well under pressure. And I think that's both teams play good under pressure. So we're going back there with that in mind, and we're going to really try hard, that's for sure.
Does Al work hard at trying to prepare you not to look ahead? Because I think it might be easy to start looking at Montreal losing twice and saying, well, that means that we might play somebody else in the next round. Is that on your mind, or does he try pretty hard to say, hey, look, until this series is over, we don't think about anything else?
Well, I think he goes pretty well a game at a time. We usually have a meeting before every game, and he concentrates on certain things that we got to do against a certain team. He hasn't mentioned anything about anybody else, and we certainly still have our hands full with Toronto, and we're going to look at it that way, that's for sure.
Well, there are a lot of Leaf fans who hope you're right, but some who think you're being a little too kind at this point. However, it's been fun to watch this Islander team for the last 2 nights. Not only the guys who score the goals, but the men who prevent them too. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, Dave.
We'll return with Stanley Cup 81 in just a moment. So the Leafs have to win at home. They're the only NHL team this season to have more points on the road than at home. They cannot wait to improve that mark. They must have 2 victories at Maple Leaf Gardens to get back here to the Nassau Coliseum. The Islanders, with respect for the Leafs, nevertheless must have a great deal of confidence that they can go in and sweep this series on Saturday night. Coming up on Saturday, it is Game 3. Coverage plans for Hockey Night in Canada. The Ontario viewers will see the Leafs and the Islanders. Buffalo at Vancouver in British Columbia, the Atlantic provinces, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. And once again, the big stories around the NHL are Edmonton beating Montreal again and Minnesota beating Boston again. This is Dave Hodge bidding you good night for Hockey Night in Canada.
The proceeding has been a special presentation of ICENET, the Islanders Championship Entertainment Network.